Hello there everyone, welcome back to my channel. It has been exactly a month since I've last recorded any sort of video. I'm excited to talk about the books I read in the month of March, some of which I enjoyed, and then there's others where I wanted to enjoy them but I couldn't and it just didn't really click with me. So I'll go into depth with all of the books I've read. The first series I read in the month of March is Chronicles by Hinako Ashihara, and I read volume 1 to 10. This story is about a girl named Anne, and she moves to a remote village with her mother to her grandmother. Her mother just got divorced, and so she's wanting to restart her life, and Anne goes through a lot of changes. And basically the whole theme of this series is just really change and giving a chance to like learn something new, do something new, meet new people, and just not only just change in general but also changes of life, because we also see Anne like grow as a person from like the time, I think it starts with her being 7, and then from there on, or 7 or 10, I think 10, from age 10, and then it shows like her growing more and more into an adult and just everything that she goes through. This book also covers topics such as second chance love, grief, heartbreak, moving on, and other themes like that. I think it's a really great book in terms of like if you're going through a transitional point in your life. This book I feel like would be really relatable because Anne, and there's other characters too that are involved, they go through a lot of changes, like again not only like in the moment but like throughout their lives, and you see that, and you see like how with each age they have a different sort of mentality and they approach things differently. Their belief systems that they had maybe when they were 10 changes when they're 18, and then it changes when they're like 20. So you see all of that, and I think it's a really great, again, just story about change and about accepting change and like letting yourself become someone new and someone even better than you were before. So to me, this series was really relatable, and I really liked the whole like theme of like change and whatnot. So for this series, I gave it a 4.5 out of 5 stars. The next series that I read, I did not read the complete series. I only read volume 1 to 4, and that is Mars by Fuyumi Soryo. I know a lot of people like this series, and it's like a really popular like older manga series, and I really wanted to like it, I really did, but this one for some reason, and I don't know if it was because I wasn't in the right mood or maybe I wasn't really like tapping into the story, I just could not continue it on. It just was annoying, like it was really annoying, and I don't know if it's like, I can't really even pinpoint what it is, and I feel like it's really just a combination of everything. Like the only thing I really enjoyed about this book was like the whole it was the racing, like motorcycle racing aspect of it, like that was the only thing I enjoyed. But the other part, like the main girl lead, the main male lead, it just felt really, I guess, tropey, really tropey. Basically the story is about this character named Ray, and it starts off with him trying to find a hospital, and then he runs into the main girl lead, Kira, and so he runs into her and he's like, hey, I'm trying to find a hospital, can you help me? And she quickly like is able to like draw out the pathway to the hospital and then just leaves him like quickly. And she does this because she recognizes him from school and she knows he's a bad boy. Yeah, he's a bad boy. She doesn't want to get involved with him, and she's like, yeah. But he ends up saving her. Very scary situation where she like almost gets assaulted by a teacher, and he stops it. And then so from there, their connection kind of like gets deeper. Thing is, and I think I mentioned this as I mentioned earlier, it just felt tropey. And again, I don't know if it was my mood or whatnot, but there were some parts that were good, and then I don't know what it was about volume 4. It just felt so redundant, because there's like something revealed about Ray, and then like Kira and Ray, they're just going back and forth about it, and it's like, oh my god, like what was revealed about Ray was actually something very deep, right? And it could have been taken in a very meaningful way, but I feel like the way that the author decided to have Kira and Ray like kind of talk about it and kind of, I guess, constantly debrief about it just felt weird. And then of course they had the girl who knew him before, liked him, and now she re-enters the picture and she's just all crazy and doing whatever she can to reclaim her man. It's just, I don't know, it wasn't enjoyable, and I wanted to enjoy it because I know a lot of people like it. It's an older manga series. I just couldn't. Like, I think there's 11 or 12 volumes of this. I could not. Like, by the 4th one, I'm like, I'm done. I'm done. I cannot do this. So, yeah, for this series, what did I give it? Yeah, I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars. The only thing I genuinely liked about it was the whole racing thing, like, of motorcycles and whatnot. That was interesting, but other than that, I couldn't handle it. I just couldn't. So the next book that I read, this one absolutely made my Ramadan even better. Reading this book, it felt like a revival of like, my faith, a revival of like, yes, like I'm Muslim and this is who I am, you know? Absolutely love it. And the next book is called Beauty of Your Face by Sahar Mustafah. Yeah, Sahar Mustafah. I have it right here. I'm like reading it off, but I have it right here. This book, absolutely beautiful. Basically, it's about this woman. She's of Palestinian descent, and she is a principal at this Islamic school. And it starts off with her, you know, talking about the school, talking about, you know, the office and kind of what she goes through. And then a school shooter comes in. And then from that point, you get as the reader, you're placed into her past, so like in her like childhood, and then it's kind of like a back and forth where it's like we're in the present moment where there's like an active school shooter, but then we're also in the past of seeing how the principal has grown as a person, like seeing her struggles that she went through in childhood, in her teenage years, young adult. I mean, so much of it was so relatable. Like, even though, again, I'm not of like the same like ethnicity of her, but I could still relate to so many of like just the challenges of being like a child of an immigrant, you know, being Muslim, connecting with your faith, and then also kind of losing your faith and like, you know, questioning, am I doing something wrong or am I doing something right? I feel like one way or another you're gonna relate to the character in some way, or if not the main character, then the other characters that are involved. Like, it felt so real and not like in a cringe way. And that's another thing too. I feel like sometimes with Muslim authors, they'll write about like, you know, being Muslim, but then they'll like insert some like cringy stuff. Not all of them, but like some of them. But this one, nothing was cringy at all, and everything was, it just felt real. It's like there were side characters who like I was reading about, whether it was like, you know, older aunties or other Muslims, where it's like, oh my god, I've run into these types of Muslims, you know? Like, I've run into these types of Muslims, I've seen these types of Muslims, and it's like, whether in real life or online, and it's like, this just was like the best book that I read, honestly, throughout the month of Ramadan. I feel like everyone should read this book, and I feel like it's so, not only do we get, again, her perspective, like, on her life and whatnot, but then also when it goes back to the present of like having the active school shooter, we also get the perspective of the shooter himself and what he's thinking and whatnot, and how he feels like his, you know, country's being taken over by these people and own like internal battles that he has. I mean, it is a lot, but at the same time it is so good and it is so like real. The theme of belonging is so huge within this book, because he expresses how she didn't feel like she belonged in her own school, right? Because there were teachers who easily could have seen her potential, but they decided not to and put her in like a lower reading level, even though she could read a bigger book. She didn't belong with like, you know, the other kids, because like they were mainly like white majority and she's like the only minority. And then it's like not feeling like she belongs even when she's faced with a situation where it's like it could potentially ruin her connection with the other Muslims at the mosque because something happened at school that's related to a person that she knows. It's like all of this it's this constant challenge of wanting to belong and doing things that either take you out of the group or keep you in the group, you know? Oh, I didn't mention it, but I feel like you could already tell. 5 out of 5 stars. The next book that I read, and this is a new manga series, it's called Glasses with a Chance of Delinquent. This is volume 1 by Naruki. This one is just so cute, and it's kind of similar to Pink and Habanero. I love just the uniqueness, even the title too, the English title, like Glasses with a Chance of Delinquency. Like, I'm easily thinking of Cloudy with a Chance of a Meatball. So basically the story is about a girl named Momose, and Momose in her middle school was always being just used by the delinquents. If they wanted her to do something, she'd do it, basically out of fear because they're delinquents. And she just was basically their pet, like their dog, just doing whatever they want. Now that she's in high school, she wants to have a new, fresh start, and she wants to begin again. The only issue is that she has to join a club. And she's tried to join clubs, but she's, again, really clumsy and doesn't necessarily fit so easily with other people, until the teacher suggests her to join this helpers club, where like they basically help people, and it's only really one person. She's like, oh, okay, I'll join. So she joins it. Little does she know that the president of the club, and again, he's like the only member, but the president of the club is like this popular guy at school that everyone loves and likes. And so she's like, okay, cool, it's gonna be fun. It's a popular guy and he doesn't seem too bad. Well, that is until she discovers that in his past, he was a delinquent. And not only a delinquent, a high-ranking delinquent at his school. And so now she's thrown back into the whole delinquent world, and she's like, oh my gosh, not again. I love the pacing of the story, and I feel like it's progressing so well. I read the rest of the series on the Kodansha app, and oh my gosh, it is just so good. It is so cute. Seeing Momose, like, again, her facial expressions and whatnot. The class president name is Ichikura. So Ichikura is the delinquent who was like the top rank, and seeing him and Momose like be together is just so adorable. Like, you see like him show his like delinquency side whenever he like takes off his glasses and then he puts them back on to like, you know, be more sophisticated, and like she realizes that he's not a bad person. It's just the fact that he was a delinquent and her own past with delinquents that's like kind of causing friction, but other than that, it's like, you know, like there's really nothing wrong between them, you know. That's just really nice to see that. This series, 5 out of 5 stars. The next series that I started is A Star Brighter Than the Sun. This is by Kazuni Kawahara. This one, I saw the title, or not the title, but I saw the cover of the manga and I'm like, done. This looks so freaking cute. Like, the main male lead on the front, I'm like, this is so cute. This is so cute. So this series basically covers about the main girl named Sei, and Sei has always been taller than other girls. Being a tall girl has its own struggles, so all the struggles with being a tall girl she's faced. And she has this childhood friend named Koki, who during childhood was always smaller than her. That is until they get to high school, and she's still the tall girl, right? She still is sought after by the girls, like, oh my gosh, you're so tall, and all these other things. But now Koki is also tall. Not only that, he's gotten a little more handsomer. And he has this distinct, like, is it like canine tooth that like sticks out a little bit? And it's just, it just makes him look so cute. And so basically now she's realizing, oh, I may have a crush. I feel like this story is going to be a nice slow burn childhood friends to lovers story, and it is just so freaking cute, and I love it. I just love how like there's instances where like Sei will be made fun of her height, or she'll be like either ostracized because of her height, and then Koki will try to like include her in or try to like clear any misunderstandings that people have with her because of her height. This has to be an anime. This, like, there's only volume 1 out, but already I'm just like, there has to be an anime. There just has to be an anime. There's no way that this one cannot be an anime. It has to be. I gave this one a 5 out of 5 stars. I can't wait to read the rest of it. So the next series that I read is Sakura Saku, volume 1 to 6, and this is by Ayo Sakisaka. So basically it's about this girl named Saku, and she falls ill while she's on the train, and it gets to the point where she faints, and then she wakes up and she's like in this like, I guess, bed in like the train station, and she's like, oh my gosh, like, where's my bag, like, what happened? And then the guy, or the, I guess, person of the train station, he's like, oh yeah, you fell on the train and then somebody got you and they got your bag and everything like that. And she's like, oh my gosh, somebody saved me, like, I gotta thank them. And they're like, well, I don't know who they are, but they gave this, and they have like their contact information, and then they have their name, Ryosuke Sakura, right? And so she sees that name, she's like, okay, I gotta thank this person. She calls him, doesn't answer. She's just like, dang, doesn't answer the phone, like, you know? So from there on, it changes her into wanting to like help people more. Well, turns out that there's someone at school with the exact same last name, and he has a brother with the same name that she had on a piece of paper. And so she's like, oh my gosh, do you know this person? And he's like, oh yeah, that's my older brother. And she's like, well, can I, you know, connect with him? Can I, you know, because he saved me? And he's like, no. And she's like, okay. The story continues on with her wanting to connect with Ryosuke because he's the one who saved her. And then his younger brother is just like, yeah, no, I don't want to give you his contact, none. And she's like, dang, like, why not? Like, he saved my life and I want to thank him for it. I love this one in particular, Sakura Saku, because it covers like helping people. This book also dives into the idea of like what makes you really a good person, like a genuine good person, what makes you like a good person but just at face value. And I love that like question of those like what is a good person, because it's like you see like Saku wanting to, you know, thank the guy that helped her out, but then Suke's younger brother doesn't want to help her out. All this like kind of questioning of like what is a good person, and I really like that. So yeah, I give this one 4 out of 5 stars. Really enjoyed it. The next series that I read is Oharu Ride, again by the same author. I read volume 4 to 9. I actually finished 9 today, like in the morning. This one is picking up from the anime. So Futaba, first the story starts off with her being in middle school and having a crush on this boy named Ko. Generally speaking, she doesn't like boys. Like, she hates boys. Boys are just icky to her. They're always messy and whatnot. But Ko is just different. He's nicer to her. He's more friendly. And she thinks maybe there's something in between them. But then all of a sudden he like just vanishes. Like, he leaves school, Nobody knows why he left. He just left, and that was that. Now high school starts, and she sees a guy who looks like Ko, and she's like, is that him? And turns out it's not. It's just someone who's a bit older, and he's a teacher. She's like, oh dang. But then she sees another person. She's like, okay, this one definitely looks like Ko. And she goes up to him, and he's like she says his last name, and she's like, oh, okay, I thought you were somebody I knew. Like, you look so familiar. He's like, no, that's not me. So she goes on, and she's like, but that guy, he looks too familiar. Well, it turns out it is Ko, but he changed his last name, and he's completely different. He's not as like happy and upbeat and as like kind and soft as he was to her as before. Now he's a bit more like solemn. He's a bit more to himself. And so basically it takes off from there, and just her trying to figure out what happened to him and why is he different. Honestly, Ko is a really difficult character. Like, he definitely has gone through some things, and that is revealed in the manga, I would say. I don't even feel like nonchalant is the right word, but he's just so avoidant and so distant. And then you see Futaba really wanting to just, again, connect with him, wanting to get to know him, but he's just, again, so avoidant. And at some point, I mean, she gives up, obviously, because he's like so avoidant, so distant. Ayo has this magic touch, and I just, even though there were times where it made me frustrated reading this series, I like still wanted to know more. I still wanted to read more. It just, something about it feels so light and airy and fluffy and cute. And even though, okay, this series, like where it's at, it's not really fluffy, airy, and cute. It's pretty like, dang, like they're going through like, you know, some drama, but it's still just so enjoyable. Like, it's simple drama that's enjoyable. Like, I don't know what she just has, again, that magic touch. So yeah, because of the anime, I really did enjoy it. I was like, you know what, I need to continue on reading the manga. I continued on reading the manga, and I was also reading Sakura Saku at the same time, because I'm like, I need more. I need more by her. So she's a really great mangaka. And so if you're wanting to read like either Sakura Saku or Oharu Ride, either one is great. Or even watching the anime, 4.5 out of 5 stars. I haven't finished reading the series yet, so I can't give like full rating, but for right now, 4.5 out of 5 stars. So the next manga series that I read, and this one is really out of my like norm. I don't usually read like fantasy and much less like Greek mythology type of books, but I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna give it a try. Seems like a lot of people like it. And this one is called Lord Hades' Ruthless Marriage. This is volume 1 to 3 I read. I don't have the author here. I didn't write it down, but oh well. I read this actually in February. So this wasn't a March read. This was a February read. And basically, it's a story about Hades, and he ends up being shot by an arrow. I forgot who it is, but someone shoots him with an arrow, and it's like the arrow of like love, and he's supposed to fall in love with whoever he has his like first sight on. And the daughter of, oh my gosh, if I remember, I'll put the name here, but it's like, she's like the daughter of the spring goddess. Yeah, that girl, she like sneaks in to the underworld, and that's also an issue. So Hades has 2 issues. The girl shot Hades with an arrow of love, and it's supposed to entice Hades to fall in love with somebody because he has no wife. Zeus has a wife. Everyone else, well, has some sort of relation with a woman, but he doesn't, because he's in the underworld and he's just focused on his own thing, right? Once he's shot with this arrow, he's supposed to like, you know, be enticed to fall in love with somebody, but he doesn't right off the bat. Like, he doesn't at all. And so then his subjects and his like companions make it a thing to like find him a wife, and they make it known to everyone like, hey, Hades is a bachelor. I mean, everyone already knows that, but now they know that he's actively looking for a wife. The story basically goes through different Greek mythology characters and how they all wanted to get with Hades. I'm not, again, too knowledgeable about Greek mythology, but they bring up a lot of Greek mythology, like goddesses that are like wanting to be involved with Hades, but Hades is like, you're not my type, or we're not compatible, you know? And all whilst there's the daughter of, she's like stuck in the underworld, and they're basically using her as like, you know, a worker to do things and whatnot. I only read from 1 to 2. I didn't read 3 because it seemed obvious that he was going to fall in love with her, and like it didn't feel entertaining to me. It just felt more of like a, I don't know how to explain it, because I know a lot of people enjoy Greek mythology. I know when they read it, it's like, oh, I know this person, that person, but I think maybe because I don't know the full scope of like every Greek mythology person, reading it just kind of felt like a history lesson a bit, and I just couldn't like, I mean, it was enjoyable as it was because it's okay, a definitely like a modern take on like, you know, Hades and like him trying to find love and all that stuff. But at the same time, I'm just like, I feel like I have to educate myself every new goddess that comes up, because I'm like, wait, goddess of who? Like, oh, okay. I'm like, wait, who? I gave this one 3 out of 5 stars. Again, that's just, I feel like if I was into Greek mythology, I would have given it a higher rating, but I'm not into it, so you know. Yeah, but if you are, then you'll definitely like it. Yeah, those are all the books I read in mainly the month of March. If there's any books that you enjoyed in the month of March, please let me know. And yeah, I'll see you in my next video. Bye.